Well, thousands of climate change scientists, policymakers, and world leaders have gathered in Copenhagen to debate what to do about the future of the planet. Reporting now from Copenhagen is Pajamas Media contributor and author of While Europe Slept, Bruce Bauer. Hello, Bruce. Good to see you again.
Hi, how you doing, Bill?
Doing fine, thanks. Bruce, we're getting into a second day there. What are your overall impressions of the gathering in Copenhagen? What have you seen so far in terms of the general vibe?
Well, the more that you look at what's going on here, the more you realize that this has absolutely nothing to do with climate or science, at least not hard science. It has a lot to do with social science. It's a gathering of social scientists, activists, environmental groups. It's a movement, and to describe it as really having to do with science is just misguided. And they seized on the data provided by a really small number of scientists to form the foundation for this, what is basically a political movement. And these few climatologists have become heroes to these people. I mean, just look at. I was just looking at this thing that they were handing out today for this side event. There's all these side events, and this one is called Klimaforum, the People's Climate Summit. And among the events they are holding sessions entitled Tackling Capitalism and the Climate Crisis, Women's Perspective on Nuclear Energy, Feminists Struggling Against Climate Change and Privatization of the Environment, Global Warming, the Capitalist Catastrophe and the Eco-Socialist Alternative, and finally, Cuba's Energy Revolution, which is apparently about the fact that Cuba is a model of sustainable development.
It's because there's nothing there. I was just in Cuba. There's nothing there to sustain.
And here, speaking of Cuba, here in the official newspaper, the official daily newspaper of this conference, the COP15 Post, they have an article entitled Cuba, a World Climate Leader. You have to hear this to believe it. The Cuban people are a tremendous inspiration. They are living proof that another, better world is possible. Usually, when Cuba is cited as an example to follow, it is because of the health and educational systems, which are among the best in the world. Or it is because of decades of solidarity work in other developing countries. But who would have thought that the Cubans would come to be the avant-garde of sustainability and ecology? That's what we're about here.
You can be the avant-garde of sustainability if you don't have an economy. That's the way you want to lead the world in emissions. Don't have an economy.
Don't have an economy. Don't have personal freedom.
That's right. It's pretty simple.
Those details.
And that's where we're headed, no doubt. Now, Bruce, we should note that you were actually denied a press pass to the UN conference. Have other journalists fared that same fate? And is there any kind of a selection bias that you're getting in terms of who gets a pass and who doesn't?
Well, as some of the people watching this may know, the journalist for the website WorldNet Daily was denied accreditation. And it was very clear that it was because of the politics or the perceived politics of that website. The UN did not want somebody there from WorldNet Daily. The UN very obviously doesn't want somebody there from Pajamas Media. And I was talking to somebody yesterday at the alternate conference, the actual scientists conference that I mentioned yesterday, and she told me of a friend of hers who is a leading journalist with many years of very distinguished experience in the mainstream media, who also, to his shock, for the first time in his life, was denied accreditation. He's never been denied accreditation to anything. And I'm trying to get a hold of this person so I can talk to him and maybe report further on that.
When science drops the internal criticism and the internal examination of debate that makes science work, then it's not science anymore, and they don't get to hold it up as the shield of science.
But no, and if this is about spreading information, and this is supposed to be the United Nations, this is not the way you do business with journalists. This is really not the way you treat the media. This is not some little private organization which has the right to say we don't want you here. This is the United Nations, and legitimate journalists should, by as a matter of course, be allowed to cover such an event, and it should be an additional scandal on top of ClimateGate that
Yep.
they're doing this. It all fits together, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. They got to control the message, because if they don't, then nasty little details get out. Bruce, one of the things that we're hearing about the Copenhagen summit are these reports of waste and excess. Things like we're hearing 1,400 stretch limousines and any number of private jets flying in and out to tell us about how bad carbon is. Have you seen any of this yourself?
Well, one thing that I should mention is a friend of mine, Jonathan Foreman, wrote a very terrific piece in the London Times the other day, in which he went into some detail about this. And one of the facts that he noted was that there are 41,000 tons of carbon dioxide are going to be spent on people coming here and leaving here and doing their stuff here. And that's, as he noted, that's roughly the same amount as the total carbon emissions of the Kingdom of Morocco in the year 2006. And this, I was at one of these side venues, which I was allowed to enter today, and just the amount of printed matter stacked up all over the place, all this sort of thing that I was just reading to you, it's endless. You could spend the rest of your life reading it, and it's if you looked a little bit of it, you see it's all the same kind of stuff. But they must have had to cut down a part of the Amazonian rainforest the size of Rhode Island to print all this stuff, and they're all such good environmentalists.
Well,
Speaking of which,
go ahead.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I don't own a car, so I'm going to send this back to you. It's a nice bumper sticker. International financial institutions out of climate now. I don't even know what it means, but I'm sure that once they see this on your car, they will indeed get out of climate.
You bet. You bet. We're going to get them out of the environment. We're just going to remove them from the environment. Not to some other environment. They weren't in the environment. We're going to get them out. Bruce, you can't make this stuff up. You just can't. There's not a writer good enough who can do it. But thanks for checking in with us today, and we'll be looking to get your report from you tomorrow.
Thanks. Take care.
Okay, you too. Be sure to visit climate-gate.com for the latest on climate change and the climate change debate, and be sure to stay tuned to PJTV for more of Bruce Bowers' reports from Copenhagen.